To complete the fact find on my client, all I need to do from the client summary dashboard is select Edit or View Details from the Personal Details tile. This will take me into the fact find, so I can see the fields down the left-hand side here, various fields that I can complete, along with the information that I've already populated. So I can see both John and Jane's details here. These are the clients that I input earlier, and I can also see the marketing preferences that I keyed in for them. Now, there are two ways of navigating this system. I could either use the menus down the left, or I can use the bottom right hand navigation key, and that's what I will do in this instance. So I'm going to select contact details on the bottom right. It takes me into their contact details for each client. So I can see I already have a mobile phone number and a home email address for John. If I want to add another contact information for them, I can go to add phone, and let's say it's his work telephone number. I'll pop that number in. Okay, best time to call, let's say between 9 and 5. Okay, and is that his preferred contact number? Maybe, may not be. I'm going to say no, mobile is preferred. Okay, and then hit save on the bottom right. That will then add that to his contact details. If I wish to change any of the contact details or add any for his partner, I just select the Jane Hughes button towards the top of the screen. And that then takes me to Jane's contact details there, but I'll leave them as they are currently. Okay, bottom right again, we're going to address summary. And this is where I can capture details of their current address. So I'm going to current address, and I'll put in the address details here. So let's say number 1, the street is Cheltenham Road. It's in Cheltenham, which is in Gloucestershire. And I'll give it a postcode. Okay. I can say whether this address is purely for him or for her, or a joint address. So let's say it's a joint address in this instance. It's their residential address. They are on the electoral roll. It is their current address, and it's their preferred address. Okay. And let's say that it is owner occupied, and they have lived at that house for 5 years and 6 months. And again, to save that, I just press the save button on the bottom right of the navigation bar. Okay, now I'm going into current expectations. So these are some soft questions to ask your client. So what is it that they're looking for? What can we help them with? So in this instance, I'm going to say getting a remortgage. Okay, what's really important to them and why? So let's say fixing their costs and keeping costs down. Okay. Fixing costs, keeping costs down. And what future changes to your circumstance are you aware of? Let's say none. Okay. And then going on to the dependents section. So bottom right, we're going to dependents. And this allows me to capture details of possibly dependent children, stepchildren, parents, grandparents, anyone that may be dependent upon this couple. So I'm going to say they have a daughter. So let's say her name is Jenny. Surname again is Hughes. She is a female, and she was born on the 4th of April 2012. Okay, and she is their daughter. Okay, and she is related to both. Okay, is she financially dependent? Yes, she is. And they're hoping she's going to go to university, so she will be financially dependent until she is 21. Now, if we wish to do so, we can add various school fees associated with Jenny Hughes. So if she goes to preschool and there are associate fees, I can pop those in there along with the details of the establishment. The same for primary school, secondary school, and university fees. I can also add additional comments relating to Jenny Hughes within here. Okay, but I'm going to leave that blank for the time being. We're going to hit save on the bottom right hand corner. Okay, we're then going to employment and income. So we're going to detail both John and Jane's employment. So to do the employment, I select add employment. Okay, I select who the employment is for. So let's say it's for John. He is employed and he is let's say he's a cashier at Bank or Building Society. Okay. Let's say, okay, bank cashier. Okay, let's say he works for Lloyds. I could put in the employer contact details if I wish to do so. Okay, so let's put in their telephone number. I'm not going to populate an address, but I'm sure you understand how that works. I could put in the date that he started that employment. So let's say he started on the 2nd of January. 2010. No end date because he still works there currently. It's his main occupation and he is not on probation. Now, the reason there is an end date there is because if he had only been in that employment maybe for 3 months, I could also capture his previous employment. Okay, so that would give you the end date space requirement there. Okay, I can then link an income to this. So let's go to add new income towards the bottom left. Okay, and system's already populated. It's for him. It's his employed salary. And I'm going to say he earns £35,000 a year. Okay, don't need to pop in a start date because we already keyed that in with his employment date and a future amount. So if I know he's about to get a pay rise, I could put a future amount in there. But as it is, I'll leave it the same and hit the save button on the bottom right. Okay, then all I need to do is hit save again. And it's linked that income now to that employment. Okay, so that's John's employment sorted. And now we need to do Jane. So I go to add employment. Select that it is Jane's employment that we're keying in. Let's say she's employed. She is a cashier at supermarket. Okay, let's say she works for Tesco's. Again, I could put in the Tesco contact details. I'll put in her start date. So let's say she started 5th of May, 2012. Okay, so main occupation, she's not on probation. And then I'm going to add a new income for her. So I'm going to say that Jane, her employed salary, she earns £25,000 a year. And again, if she's about to get a pay rise, anything like that, I could change the future amount there. I then just press the save button on the bottom right. And save again, bottom right. And I can see now that I've captured both of their employment and income details. I'm then going on to the liabilities screen. So again, we're navigating from the bottom right on that grey bar. Okay, so we can capture details of any mortgages that they have and also any other liabilities. So I'm going to say that they currently have a mortgage. We said they're owner occupiers at their property. It's their primary residence mortgage. And I can capture details about the lender, the account number, when it started, the original balance, the outstanding balance. A lot of information here I can capture. As we saw previously though, the only mandatory information is marked by a red asterisk. Okay, so in actual fact, the only mandatory information on here is the outstanding balance and the payment amount. So I'm going to say that they currently owe £70,000 on their mortgage and they pay £460 a month. Okay, again, I can capture additional information, so I will say it's principal and interest. They pay it monthly. Is this balance being repaid before mortgage advance? No, it won't be. It will be repaid upon mortgage advance. Are there any penalties if they transfer or repay it currently? No. So let's say they're out of their previous fixed rate period and they're on standard variable rate, even though they're not looking to buy a new property. So in this instance, I'm going to choose that these clients are looking for a remortgage. So I've put in as much information as I wish to do so there. If I want to, I can capture further information. So is it a 50-50 split mortgage? Is it 75% John, 25% Jane, and so on? I can put in application details of that mortgage and I could put additional comments as well. Okay, but as it is, I'm happy with the level of detail that I've keyed in and I'm going to press the save button on the bottom right and I'm going to move on to other liabilities. Okay, so I'm going to say they've got capture their credit card account number, when this card started, but the only mandatory information, the outstanding balance and the payment amount. Okay, so I'm going to say they currently owe £1,200 on their credit card and they usually pay £200 per month. Okay, it's not being repaid before the mortgage advance. And I could put in details of what's their credit limit, let's say £5,000. How often do they pay it? Monthly. When the value's last updated. So let's say that was today. Okay, and again, I could put in details of the owners and additional comments here, but I'm going to save that information and I'm going to move on to property and other assets. I can now add details of their current property. So if I go to add property, okay, we'll say it's joint property. It is a semi-detached house. It's their main residence. Okay, I could put in the current value. So let's say it's worth £200,000 and that was valued, let's say again today. Okay, and that is their existing property. Now, if it was a buy-to-let property, I could put in any property income, but I'm not going to do that. All I am going to do is select the existing address. Okay, and what I can do here is I can add the existing mortgage that we've already created. So let me show you that again. In the linked liabilities section, I just click the little arrow or triangle and I can link the existing primary residence mortgage that I created. Okay, so it's showing that's the mortgage relating to that property, and I'll select save, and it's now linked all of that information up there. Okay, if they have any other assets, I can also pop those into this page here by going to add other asset. Okay, I select the type of asset it is. So let's say they have national savings, premium bonds. You can see there are a whole host of various assets they may have here. Source of funds, let's say investment. Okay, country of origin, so United Kingdom, and let's say they've got £1,000 worth of those. Okay, but they currently don't bring any value in. And if there was an asset that was linked to a liability, again, you could add that liability onto here. But in this case, for premium bonds, I'm just going to hit save, so it's saved those assets against these clients. Okay, I'm then going to go to insurance. So this will allow me to capture details of their current protection policies, their current general insurance, and their current medical insurance. Now, let's say in this instance that John and Jane do not have any protection on their mortgage at the moment, but all they have is some general insurance and buildings and contents. So I'm going to add general insurance, and I'm going to pop the information in here. So let's say it's with legal and general. Okay, oh, apologies. Pre-populate, so legal and general here, put the information in, cover amount, let's say £200,000, and the premium they pay £25 a month for that. And I can also pop in here the policy number. Okay, again, I can detail the owners, the dates of when the policy started, was issued, submitted, and any additional notes that I wish to do so. Once I'm happy with the information that I've populated, I select save on the bottom right. And I'm now going to move on to the pension details. So I can capture details about their pensions if I wish to do so. I don't have to, but I'll show you the screens as you would see them. So if I go to add pension, it would allow me to add all of their pension details in here. Okay, I'm going to cancel out of that and leave them with no pension details for the purposes of today. And then I'm going to go on to expenditure. Okay, so we have committed expenditure. It's already populated their mortgage payments and their credit card payments. We also have basic essential expenditure, so already pre-populated their buildings and contents. Okay, now to add any others, I can add committed by selecting the add committed button. And the system brings me up a form of all the standard payments. Okay, so mortgage payments have already been entered. We don't have to add those. Rental payments, haven't got any. Credit cards, we've already entered. And then we're looking at any other committed expenditure. Now, as it is for these clients, I'm going to say they don't have any, so I can cancel out of there. So I'm just going to keep the ones that were pre-populated from what we did earlier. But there will be more basic essential. So I'm going to add basic essential expenses. And again, it's given me a form here, so I can put in their current expenses and their future expenses if they're likely to change. So let's put £40 for gas. It's not likely to change anytime soon. Same for water, same for electricity. Housing maintenance, currently they don't put anything aside per month or don't use anything monthly for housing maintenance or car repairs or travel. They do pay council tax, that's £130 a month. And we will also detail their income tax in here. Okay, the reason that we do that is because we have keyed in their gross salary, but expenditure is worked on a net basis. Okay, so let's say between them they pay £1,000 a month in income tax, and obviously in a real life scenario I would obtain that information from their pay slips. Okay, car, I am going to say £50 a month they tend to spend on their car. Home, no, nothing, and nothing on health. Okay, and then I'm going to save that information. And we'll see that's now added that into my basic essentials section. I'm now going to add basic quality of living. Okay, so you'll see these are things like telephone, television subscriptions, groceries, things like that. So let's say groceries, they spend £250 a month on groceries, and let's give them £50 a month to spend on takeaways. Okay, telephones, this is landline telephone, let's say it's £30 per month, and their mobiles are £40 between them. Television, let's say they have a Netflix account, something like that, and it costs them £10 a month. Okay, do they then spend money every month on clothing or hairdressing or savings, etc., etc.? If they do, I can input information there. So let's say they currently save £100 a month, but actually they would like to go up to 125. Okay, holiday contributions, do they tend to go on holiday every year? Do they put money aside for that? Let's say £100 a month. And any other memberships, things like that. So are they a member of a gym? Let's say they've got a very cheap one, £20 a month. Other entertainment, pharmaceutical, and also other healthcare. So if I select save, that will save that information in the basic quality of living. Now, if you wish to add any expenses into any of these sections that are not already listed, very easy to do. In the relevant section, you click the downward triangle and you can add a single expense. Okay, so let me show you how that works. So I've added a single, I select who it's for. So let's say it's a joint expense and it is for contributions, other contributions. Okay, and then let's say they contribute £15 a month. Okay, and save that information. Okay, and that's added that into my basic quality of living here. And that might just be a charitable contribution, anything like that that I've keyed in. Okay, nice feature here is at the top, if I click this downward arrow, it actually brings that information up into a chart for me. So it shows how their expenditure is split, their committed, their basic essential and their basic quality of living on the left. And on the right hand side, it shows their income, so £5,000 a month, their expenditure, which is £2,600, and so that means they have a budget of £2,400. Okay, I'm now going to enter their credit history. So I select the credit history button on the bottom right. And this is where I can detail anything like county court judgments or defaults or arrears, anything at all like that. So if they had had a county court judgment, I'll show you how to do this. I just select yes within that section and I capture the details here. So was it his or was it joint? Let's say it was a joint one. It was for £150. It was registered on the 3rd of March. Oh, apologies, wrong box. On the 3rd of March 2011, and it was satisfied on the 3rd of April 2011. Okay, and then I select save, and it saved that information in there. Okay, let's say they haven't had any defaults, no arrears on a mortgage loan or credit card, never had a repossession, never been bankrupt, and have never had any IVAs. Okay, so that's the credit history section completed, and then I select account details on the bottom right. And this allows me to capture their bank account details. You don't have to input this information, but the reason it is there ready for when the Lender Hub is completed, and it will essentially pull through their account information onto the lender's application form. Okay, so if you want to capture that information, you can. And again, the only information you have to capture is marked mandatory with a red asterisk. So let's say it's their current account, joint account, it's a bank account, it's current, it's with Lloyds. I could capture the address details if I wish to do so, branch details, or pop in the account number here. Okay, and also the sort code. Okay, surname of the account holders is Hughes, and the account name is Mr. and Mrs. J. Hughes. Okay, and I'm going to save that information. Okay, now that is the full fact find now completed. And if I go to my client summary page by clicking the client details at the top right of the screen here, I can now print that fact find. And in a real life scenario, I would print that fact find because it saves it at this particular point in time. Okay, so to print it on the left hand side in the personal details tile, I select print fact find. And the system is now going to create me all of that information in a document, in a Word document. So I click here, open that document, and you will see that the fact find has been created. Okay, it takes just a few seconds to open. And here we have the fact find. Okay, so if I wish to edit this, I could enable editing by selecting that option at the top. I'll make that a bit smaller so you can see that. As it is, I'm just going to save the fact find exactly as it is. Okay, so you can see all of the information there that we captured in a nice format. Now, the good thing about this is if the clients wish to check it, They can do that on the paper form. If you'd like to get them to sign it, again, you can print this out and hand them the copy. Okay, as it is, I am going to save this fact find to my system. Okay, so I'll save it as Hugh's fact find. And then if I wish to do so, and this is entirely up to you, you could actually attach it as a separate document onto your Xplan mortgage. Okay. The reason you may want to do that is if you have this client for years and years, and every time you do a fact find, as situations change, you may want to keep a copy of that. So what I could do is I can go to New Note, and I can pop that in here. So I am going to call it Administration. Okay, relating to their mortgage, and I'm going to call it fact find. Okay, and then I'm going to attach this document onto the client record. So if I can locate the document, that would be helpful. Let's have a quick look here. Let's type it in. Okay, here we go. So Hugh's fact find, and open and save. Okay, so I can see here that I've completed the fact find within the client record, and it shows me the information that I've put on the financial details. So I know that I've completed it because I've got all of their financial information in there. If I click chart on that financial details tile, it makes me a nice little chart here to show their income, expenditure and budget, as we saw previously. I can still see their personal details on the left. It's also got their address in now, which we didn't have when we created the client earlier. And I can see that the fact find is attached within the notes section here. So that is creating the fact find or completing a fact find and printing it from within Xplan Mortgage.